Hi guys, Simon here again from Half Price Granny Flats. As part of our series, today we'll be chatting about plasterboard. Plasterboard is an interior lining that is used throughout all residential building. It's a very versatile product, and I'll go through all that with you today. So join me as I talk about plasterboard. Thanks. So with plasterboard, as I said, it's a very versatile material. The beauty of it is once these get joined together, so this would be two separate sheets, when they butt up into each other, the actual plasterboard itself comes with a recessed edge. So they butt up into each other with a recessed edge, giving you room to fill that with plaster. Now when you fill that with plaster, basically the process of doing that is they put some joining tape first to stop any cracking. That joining tape would go dead center of the joint. Then they'll come through with a plastering tool and basically put a base coat down first, let that dry a bit. Obviously overnight should be good in this case, depending on the weather of course. Once that sets in, they give it a light sand, and then again they run over it with a base coat as a second coat. Let that dry. Once that's set, a light sand again, then top coat over the end, and then you got your finished sand. Once this wall is sanded, painted, that will just look like one piece of plasterboard. So it's a really great material in joining. Compared to your old houses with the fibro joints, they would butt into each other and they'll put like a trim on every joint. It just looks horrible. You know, luckily in this day and age, we have all this, we have plasterboard basically. The other good thing is the external corners. So when we come into an external corner, you can't see that here, but basically there's a metal edge here. So that's like a metal 90-degree perforated angle that sits in like this. It's one piece, and then we just set both ends of that. Same process, 3 coats, but with this you won't need to use the tape because the actual angle that's perforated will do that for you. Then you've got internal joints. Now, a joint like this has to be done by a really good plasterer. Basically, they do have a tool for this, but they do really make it look easy. I mean, these plasterers, they all day long, they're just plastering joints, and it's a real craftsmanship. You can try doing it yourself, and I'll tell you, it's not as easy as it looks. But they'll use a internal corner tool here, and they'll set that. Again, they'll use paper tape here. And when they use that paper tape, they'll just fold that paper tape in the middle here and set over that. That paper joining tape is really great. There's also a fiberglass version. It's a sticky, it's got a sticky edge to it. So you just put that over and it will stick itself. Where these pro plasterers, they use the paper tape and they'll just whack that straight on with a coat of base coat. So in terms of joints, it's a very versatile product. It looks really good. You don't need any trims or anything. With plasterboard, basically when we clash up against a window, an architrave, you've probably seen this in your own home, or it's very common. So the plasterboard will butt into the timber reveal of the window. These reveals come as part of the window. When the framing carpenter puts these windows in, basically they leave allowance for the thickness of the type of gyprock that you want to use. In this case, we've used 10mm gyprock here, so that these windows are actually finishing flush with this plasterboard. And then the architrave will just sit on there neatly, and we'll widen the corners obviously. And I'll show you a close-up of that joint. So a similar thing for internal doors. Basically the gyprock finishes up against the timber frame on both sides. And then the overall thickness will be 2 sheets of gyprock plus your 90mm stud, and then the door jamb comes to that size. So that will just slip in flush perfectly, and then we'll put the architrave around that door. Again, a beautiful finish, very neat finish. So when installing plasterboard, what we do is we use a stud adhesive on the stud frame, whether it's a timber stud or a steel stud. In this case, it's a timber stud. We use a special stud adhesive. It's a product made by CSR that we use. And basically, we just apply that on each stud and put this gyprock against that, pin the gyprock with screws to the studs, and then those screw holes will get patched with the plaster, same plaster we're using on these joints, and again using 3 coats there. You notice behind me here, we've used the plasterboard cornice. Our client selected this in this particular granny flat. It's a raked ceiling, so the point of the plasterboard cornice here is to cover the joint between the ceiling plasterboard and the wall plasterboard where they marry up. So you don't have to use this method, you could also use other methods. One of the other methods that's typically used is a square set joint. So basically we'll sort of marry the plasterboard on the ceiling up with the plasterboard on the wall, and then we'll use some paper tape there and do the same 3-coat system there. So that's another method you could use, or you could use a decorative cornice, which in my opinion at the moment is a little bit outdated. We're using them more in the early 2000s, but you know, everyone's sort of going for a slicker sort of simple look now, and that's what's really in fashion at the moment. So as you can see here, you may have noticed there's a blue plasterboard here and a sort of grey plasterboard there. Now what that blue is it's a water resistant plasterboard, a specific type of plasterboard. The reason we've used that here is because this is a kitchenette area, and obviously in the kitchen you get a bit of water, a bit of splash here and there, so it's good just to have a water resistant material behind it. You could either use a Aquatrek like we've done here, or you could use a Villa board material. With the Villa board, it is a great product. It's a cement based product, but the problem that you have if you do use that is marrying it up into gyprock. But that's why this product does exist, and it's really good. You can also get different products for different areas. So sometimes you know, typically in dual occupancies, joint sort of duplex style dwellings, you use fire check gyprock, and there's all different types of plasterboard products you could use there. So it is, as I said, a very versatile product. So I hope that I give you some information there. So I hope this video has given you some good insight to plasterboard and what you should be looking out for. Make sure that whoever's doing your plastering is using the right products in the right areas. Make sure they're using the stud adhesive. Make sure they're doing the 3 coats. They're not just doing a 2-coat sort of quick fix. We don't want that. And make sure they sand it right, because honestly, the better the sand is, the better the paint finish is going to look, the less joints you're going to see. If you'll see in some buildings, if it's not sanded correctly or set correctly, you can sort of make out the joints under light, especially under downlights and stuff like that. So my tip there is to make sure that you set wide enough and it's sanded properly, and when you run your hand over it, you should really just feel sort of one sheet there. So yeah, I hope that helps, and stay tuned for our videos. Subscribe if you want to, but yeah, stay tuned, there's more videos to come. We're going to cover all aspects of a granny flat construction. So looking forward to see you next time. Thanks.